Greetings from chess.com. This is Niranjan and I'm here to cover the profile of India's 28th Grandmaster M.R.Venkatesh. It is his birthday today, so fabulous birthday to Grandmaster M.R.Venkatesh. So let's know more about him through this video. He is India's 28th GM and Tamil Nadu's 11th Grandmaster. He became a GM in 2012. The way he started chess is very interesting. So he started playing at the age of 8 and it was his father who taught him the game, and he used to watch his grandfather play it during the summer holidays. And then he also used to play chess with his sister, and one day his father saw an advertisement about a chess tournament in the newspaper, and the tournament was at the Chinmaya Vidyalaya school, so they decided to enroll his sister first. But then his grandpa asked his father to enroll Venkatesh as well, and so they both played the tournament in age group 8 and 10. And then in that event there were 6 games, and he won five games and just lost one game, but that was enough for him to win the tournament. And to everybody's surprise there, his achievement, there was a photo of the prize giving, and it appeared in all the newspapers, and that really surprised his family. He still has the prize that he got in the tournament. He got a fun school toy, a small jeep, which he still preserves until today. So that was the beginning of M.R. Venkatesh's chess career. And I told him about the Know Your GM series, and he was very good, very kind with his games. He sent his best games, also answered all my questions. So I asked him about his favorite chess piece, and he said that he likes knights because of how unique they are when compared to other pieces, the way they move. And when I asked him about the opening, I actually knew the answer, but I thought of asking it anyway. He likes King's Indian Attack because he has won a lot of games in it. In fact, to some of my students, I have recommended to study his games to get better at King's Indian Attack. More on that after some time. And when I asked him about his favorite non-chess books, he says that he loves reading biographies and autobiographies of people he admires. And so he liked the Total Recall by Arnold and Jackie's Never Grow Up. And he also liked The Winning Way by Anita and Harsha Bhogle. And he also loves Mythology series by Devdutt Patnaik. And when I asked him about the favorite movies, he said he loves the Mission Impossible series, the Bourne trilogy, and all the thriller movies. And recently he loved the movie Ratchasan in Tamil. And when I asked him about lessons that life has taught him through chess, he said that chess has taught him to become patient. He knows how to deal with failures, and he has got this never say die attitude through the game. And life has also taught him not to worry too much about anything in general and take things lightly, because worrying will never change the outcome. Amazing, isn't it? And when I asked him about his idols, then he said that he loves Gary Kasparov and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that was a brief about Grandmaster Venkatesh. So let's know about his accomplishments. So he became a GM in 2012. He became an IM in 2004, and he won a national junior event in 2003, and that was very important for him as far as the accomplishments are concerned. Also winning the Liffey Open and Johor Open, got him back into the game and inspired him to start again afresh. So those were some accomplishments, and he's married to Bhavani Sundaram and he works for Bharat Petroleum. Personally, for me, when I got to know that M.R. Venkatesh became a Grandmaster, I was very thrilled. I was in Greece, I think, during that period, and I was amazed that he has finally achieved it, and he achieved it at the age of 27. So I really admire his games, and to me, I look up to his games, especially in King's Indian Attack. So when I asked him about his best games, I thought he would send some of them from that particular opening, but I was surprised. He sent those games which he considers as best, and they are not actually from King's Indian Attack. So now I think it's time to go into that zone. Let's go to the game where he played against Indian Grandmaster Shyam Sundar, and I have picked a very interesting moment from this game. And I was very happy to even go through his annotations. They are very easy to understand, and you also get to know the entire thought process. I will not be delving deep into each and every game, but I will highlight some specific moments. Let's come to this position after rook e1. Take your time to see what you would do as black, and I will also read out his comments because I feel they are very instructive in this position. Here he spent a lot of time on this particular position because he was intending to play pawn to d3, and this move opens the line for the bishop, and that's the reason why he spent a lot of time and had to be careful. But after d3, he has actually calculated an entire sequence which is very nice and dynamic in nature. He plays d3, but after queen f3 he had seen b5, the idea being that after queen c6 he had prepared queen to a7. And this is a pattern that I have noticed in his games, that he keeps the activity going and is very consistent with initiative and threats. For example, after cb5 he poses a threat with bishop c5, targeting the f2 pawn. Then after that, rook f1, he continues the initiative with knight g4, again attacking f2 pawn. And then knight e4, and here bishop b6. He had seen until here to find such silent moves like bishop b6 is not really easy, and he was very happy when he calculated this over the board. And after bishop b6, the problem is that this knight on e4 is likely to lose the stand on e4 because of bishop d5. So after h3 he played bishop d5, and after queen c3, queen g7 is a threat, hg4 is a threat. So two things at once may look dangerous, but M.R.Venkatesh had it all covered. He had f5 in mind, and now this also defends the g7 square and attacks the e4 knight. And after knight g5 he played bishop f2, and then it was crashing. So after king h1 he played bishop g2, and then knight e3 followed. Of course you can't take this because of a deadly discovered check, and then after knight f1, rook f1, he was having a very good position. The position is not like clearly winning, but the position is good enough. After queen c4, king h8, bishop d4, queen d4, knight e6 was a move which completely changed the game in his favor. He played queen b2 check, and then queen e5. Now the problem is the g3 pawn, and after knight takes d8 he first played queen g3 check, and then after rook d8, b6, he writes that the passed pawn proved fatal for his opponent, as Aaron Nimzowitsch rightly once mentioned in his book that a passed pawn is a criminal who should be kept under lock and key, but in this case this pawn on d2 is about to promote, and this helped black to win the game. Amazing game. Next I have a particular moment from his game against Indian Grandmaster Ganguly. So I would like to go to this tactical moment where where he had this tactical shot. So let me get to that position. Yeah, it comes here where his opponent played b takes c4. It's white to move. Take a moment to see what you would do as white. Alright, I'm about to reveal the move now. Here he plays bishop takes g6 check. King takes g6 is not possible because of queen f5 mate. And after king h8 he played bishop e4. And now queen f5 is also under, it's also going to come very soon. And after d5 he just took the pawn on d5 and cb3. Unfortunately this tactic doesn't really work well for black because white has it all under control. The pawn cannot be promoted to a queen. After queen takes c6, white has queen c1, and now a1 queen is just met by queen a1, bishop a1 and rook d7, and so here Grandmaster Ganguly resigned. So that was his game against Ganguly in Moscow Open 2013. Then I would like to come to this game where Grandmaster M.R.Venkatesh won against Nigel Short, and this happened in 2014 in Zawin Memorial. This is coming from Sicilian Classical, and let me go through the first few moves. And after queen e3, rook d8, bishop e2, d5 was a novelty. This was not played before, and I think this was the critical error for black. Maybe black would have played bishop d7, but after d5 white has e5, pushing the knight away. And then after hg5, of course here black can also consider playing knight g8, but white could play bishop e7 and then queen d3, queen h7. Such ideas exist, but in this game Grandmaster Nigel Short took h takes g5, and then after hg5, knight g8, he played rook h8, and after bishop b4 he simply moved this knight away from c3 and then played a3. And once bishop went to e7, he simply played rook d h1. and now there is a dangerous threat. Queen h3 is coming. For example, if black plays a move like a6, white can in fact take rook takes g8, and after king g8 play queen h3, and queen h8 is mate. I mean a6 here, and then this is unavoidable mate, like, or else black will have to lose material. So this is winning. So that's how he managed to win against Nigel Short. And then I'm coming to the interesting moment from his game against Rook Robert. I really like the way he handled this game, and it's also very easy to understand. In this position, it's white to move. Take a moment to see what you would do as white. Also, I think this makes for a very good training position. You can play this position with your friend or partner and try to see if you can build over the advantage. White is slightly better, but I really liked how he plays. He played pawn to g4, attacking this knight on f5, and after knight to h6, he supports the pawn, maintains the tension with h3, and after king h8, he realizes that he has to someday switch this queen to a better position. He plays queen a3. Now where this queen goes is very uncertain right now, but you will see how the queen makes it to the crucial position, and it comes back into the game at the right time. He played knight g8, and after knight g5, bishop e5, d5, e6. I think there is another critical moment that comes after queen f7. The pawn on f2 is attacked, and he plays pawn to f3, and then after knight c6 he plays rook f1, because the pawn is supported by the knight, so black is actually threatening knight takes d4, so he plays rook f1 to support the pawn, and after knight d4, cd4, h6, he played bishop e3, and then after g5, he wants to get this rook into the game. So first he plays rook f2, so that this rook could come to f1, and then after knight e7, he goes up with the pawn break with f4, and then after gf4, bf4, queen g7. This is what I was talking about a few moves earlier, that the queen comes into the game at the right time with queen h3. And then after king h7, he brings the other rook to f1 and king h1. Of course, queen g4 is not possible because there is a mate on h6. And after queen g6, he simply took bishop takes h6. Now queen takes h6 is met by rook f7. And if you go rook g7, just take and then play rook f7, deflecting the queen and deflecting the king from g7. So in this position, after bishop h6, black played queen e4 check, and after king h2, rook g6. He finished off the game. This is checkmate in 3 moves. A good puzzle, I think. Alright. Rook f7 leads to mate in 5, but bishop g7 is the faster version. If you go king g8, there is queen h8 mate, and if you go rook h6, there is the mate in 3. So those were some of the best moments that M.R.Venkatesh sent us, and I'm very happy that I was able to cover his profile. So also, if you want to study attacking games with the white side, starting with knight f3, g3, bg2, d3, this king's in an attack version, I would definitely recommend that you take a look at his white side wins. That's something that I also like. Also, these days he does take up some coaching assignments here and there, so if you are interested, you can also approach him. And with that, I would like to take this opportunity to wish him again a very happy birthday. Thank you for sending your games, Anna. And dear viewers, I hope you liked the video and are inspired to also become a GM Sunday and do study chess, do practice every day. This series called Know Your GM is actually tuned to this element that it inspires you also to practice every day and know the stories of these Indian grandmasters. Alright, I will be back with another video soon. Until then, take care, bye bye, do like the video, do subscribe. I'll be back again.